Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below, the direct inquiry email line from you to me and my crew with your questions about purchasing this or any watch you see here on the channel. And today we are discussing the Fortis Classic Cosmonauts Chronograph. The Fortis Classic Cosmonauts Chronograph is inspired by the 1994 chronograph that first flew with Russian space specialists. The Classic Cosmonaut, as you see right here, is 42mm in stainless steel, and it looks and feels like nothing so much as a giant Rolex Daytona. Now, there is no such thing as a Rolex Daytona Day-Date, so this watch serves an interesting niche for folks who want a certain aspect ratio, case shape, pusher, and even screw down shape. It is very Daytona in feel and ambiance, and yet very Fortis in the honesty about the mechanisms used and the integrity of the materials and the spec. So the timepiece is spectacular. At 42mm with a relatively reasonable 14.7mm thickness, a lug-to-lug, it is a big boy, closer to something along the lines of a Yachtmaster 2. 50.9mm lug-to-lug, and if you include the end links of the bracelet, 54.5mm, but with a 20mm spacing between the lugs, so it'll take that universal aftermarket strap size if you want to accessorize. Now, I expected, given Fortis's market position and price point, that this bracelet would be held together with pin sleeves. Not the case. The bracelet is held together with screws, and very solid. Even if it does look like a little bit of a body double for a Rolex Oyster, that's no bad thing. If you're going to steal, steal from the best. Now, you can see the single fold deployment is robust, and it's matched with a clasp that incorporates five different degrees of adjustment, one of which is a all-or-nothing fold-out dive-style extension, and then four of which are individual apertures that you can use for restationing the anchor of the bracelet inside the clasp, so you can re-anchor it to make fine adjustments to the fit using a strap tool. The swing arm is milled out and solid. The clamshell locks it down. The tolerances remain excellent. You can see the bracelet includes a combination of polished and satin. Polished on the outer faces, satin on the shoulders, polished on the center, and then the case itself is all of high polish. And once again, I do see shades of the Daytona here in the shape of the case. If you've spent a lot of time around Rolex watches, you're going to see that there is a resemblance here, but that's simply assures us that this timepiece is quite elegant in its profile. Now, it does differ from the Daytona in one respect, at least the current Daytona, in that the lug hoods feature satin tops, which is a bit more muted and grown up. The timepiece featuring a bezel with a vertical outer face that's all of high polish, and then there's a satin top with lacquered inlays for the tachymeter scale. So that's all lacquer inside of satin. The outer face is polished, and then you have an interesting array of refinements here. A crown that enables the watch to achieve 100-meter water resistance. That is not a screw down. However, the chronograph pushers are, making this the first occasion I've ever encountered a watch with screw down chronograph pushers but not a screw down crown. And that's no bad thing, as it prevents you from accidentally actuating the chronograph. The feel of the cam lateral clutch system is very good, as it is an ETA 7750 in top grade based on the spec of the balance and the hairspring fitted, so it's a high grade movement inside. And you can see the dial is black with a matte finish with sunken registers featuring a concentric circular guilloche, or as it's known in the industry, azurage. You can see that there are applique bright luminova numerals and indices, and this is going to be one hell of a lume shot, as well as a few shocks of orange for reading chronograph seconds, minutes, and hours. And then there is a stop seconds function. If you pull the crown out all the way, you can stop the seconds. Just make sure we're out of the date change zone. I don't want to accidentally, you see, this is why I do that, just to make sure we're out of that danger zone after 8 p.m. And then you can see the watch not only featuring the hacking seconds, but also a double quickset for its day and its date complications. There's that hacking seconds function again, 25 joules, automatic winding, 28,800 vibration per hour beat rate, and a 48-hour power reserve. Of course, this 7750 has been customized a bit to remind you that Fortis was one of the pioneering manufacturers of automatic watches. This isn't their movement, so that's a bit of an idle boast here, but it's a good movement, one of the toughest chronograph calibers you'll find, in a very high status spec delivered as top spec from ETA. 100 meters water resistant, this Cosmonauts Chronograph is like the cosmonauts themselves, not averse to borrowing some good ideas from the best, but ultimately rugged, tough, and able to get the job done. You can see and own this Fortis Classic Cosmonauts Chronograph on the Watchbox. Email tmosso at thewatchbox.com. The Fortis Cosmonauts Chronograph. Note the fully loomed chronograph seconds hand. How do you say blinding in Russian? I'm not sure, but you might want to turn down your NVGs before you look at this one at night.